Hello, everyone. Hello. What's up, XLP? How you doing? I know I'm early, but some people show up at this right time and some people don't, and I'm rarely on. So this is more of just me thinking about something today. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, you're in for a treat and the reason why I say treat, as the title of the video, SMD, how SMD was born. You're in for a treat because I've been out of the debt matrix, which is a perspective of capitalism. I've been out of the debt matrix for quite a number of years now. And I know, and it seems like the longer that I've been out of the debt matrix, my story about how I got out becomes more clear to me. Okay. And it'll make sense to you in a minute. Well, anyway, so if you're new, I'm the founder of SMD, LJ Young. And I am currently 56 years old. At the date of this video, I'm 56 years old. And for about 18 to 20 years of my life, I was in a career of IT. I was a cloud engineer, specifically VMware software. Okay. I don't really want to get into deep about it, but I did that for like 18, 20 years. And I'm going to say about eight of those years, I was making six figures, this magical number that everybody's trying to reach. It's like once you make six figures, that's it. You're done. You're something or something. But when it only felt like that to me because I hadn't made six figures yet. That's the achievable goal. And once I get there, something magical is going to happen. But anyway, I had been there for about 8 years. Okay. And in Seattle, Washington, when daylight savings time comes, it starts getting dark around here about 4 o'clock. Okay. And you're in for a treat because I could just tell this story so clear now because of where I'm at today. All right. So I remember I was driving home after work. I got off around 4 or something, somewhere around there, 4:30, and it was already getting dark. And I was going to the gym like I always normally did after work. But on this particular day, I remember pulling into the LA Fitness parking lot and just imagine the, kind of dust background. It's not quite dark yet, but it's getting there. And therefore, the LA Fitness sign at the top of the building was really lit up on this particular day. And I remember sitting inside of I was parked in a parking spot, and I remember sitting in my finance Lexus, and I was looking at that sign, and I thought to myself, is this going to be my life until I retire? Get up, go to work, go home, go to the gym, get up, go to work, go home, go to the gym, get up. This is what I was saying to myself in the car. And I paused for a minute, and then I said, I don't accept that. It can't be that. I keep doing this all the way to retirement, 65, 70 years old, and then I enjoy life. Something didn't make sense to me, right? I just said, I don't accept that. After I said it, I sat there for a minute, got my stuff, went into the gym, did my workout. And I didn't live too far from the gym. I lived in this high-rise building, which was just within walking distance of this gym because I had to show everybody that I made six figures by where I live and what I drive, right? And when I got home, I remember going up to my apartment, and I remember opening the door. And then when I opened the door, I'm pretty much in the kitchen, on the side of the kitchen, walking into the high-rise apartment, right? And I remember closing the door. And I was standing there in the kitchen looking at my living room and all my furniture and all the stuff I had in my apartment. And I remember saying to myself, now what? Now that I'm here, I got this so-called nice place, a nice car, I got the six-figure career. Now what? And I remember asking God, I said, God, what am I missing? I'm missing something. What am I missing? And I remember asking God. You know what he did? He was waiting for me to ask him. That's all. He just needed me to physically say I needed his help. Show me what I'm missing. So the first thing he did, he took me to my credit. Now this is because I can see, so I'm gonna just get direct to it. First, he took me to my credit report and looked at all the owners, all the businesses on my credit report. All those businesses own me. He said, does your credit report look like you own something or something owns you? Because all the businesses on my credit report was nothing more than my debt slave papers living inside the perspective of the debt matrix. All the businesses listed on my credit report were my owners. My credit score was nothing more than reward points for staying in debt with the owners listed on my credit report. That's it. That's it. He said, you got to pay off all that debt. And that's exactly what I did. Student loans and everything. Everything. I'm just following what God's telling me to do. He had led me when I got out. Let me make sure I don't skip this part. He had led me when I was getting out of debt after showing me the credit report. After showing me the credit report, he led me to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is the one I took the calculator and his baby steps and got out of debt. It wasn't really that difficult. I didn't need any of his books or anything like that. Because he was just following the calculator. And since I was a computer engineer, that wasn't difficult for me. But once I got to the part to where in his plan where he says, pay off everything but the mortgage, and then start putting away money into retirement and kids funds and stuff like that. But according to the calculator, you can't do none of that while having a mortgage. None of that. I said, that doesn't make sense. You know what God said? Exactly. That doesn't make sense. Find out why it doesn't. Why does that not make sense? Because the calculator's never wrong. Now once I discovered, oh, that's business. Okay, because if he didn't help anybody, if he waited for people to pay off their mortgages, that would take too long for anything else. If he says, hey, you don't have it, if you have a mortgage, you can't buy any of my extra products because you're in debt. So that's called business. Because now I understand that it's all about perspective now. It's all about perspective. Which perspective do you live in? This is why this is slowly, SMD was born because of what I just told you how I got here. But now SMD is a perspective that very few can see. People in the debt matrix where I came from, they don't know any other perspective. Let me say it the right way. There are millions, let's just stick with the United States. There are millions of perspectives of capitalism. Okay? Capitalism. Because each person has their own. The debt matrix is a perspective. Okay? And the SMD perspective is a perspective. These are perspectives. Now, the people that live in the debt matrix perspective do not know other perspectives exist. They don't know any other perspective that exists outside of the debt matrix perspective. This is why the SMD perspective, they don't know, they can't, now listen, they cannot understand because they're in debt. No different than a debt slave being able to, let's say, reduce themselves in their tax bracket. You can't mathematically, make sure that's clear so nobody can say, hey, he's lying. Mathematically speaking, if you're in debt, you cannot reduce yourself in your tax bracket. It's like that. So they cannot understand the SMD perspective. They can't. So it doesn't matter if I'm speaking out loud, I'm calling them debt slaves, you really don't own equity. They don't know anything what I'm saying, nothing. Now, where I'm at now, the perspective in which I live today, I am still in just awe of capitalism. Not saying it's good, bad, it's horrible to people. No, just what it is. Okay, just capitalism. Okay, just I'm still in awe every day. Every day I see something new, and it's amazing. These are things that I understand now. Okay, capitalism cannot exist without humans. Let's just go all the way down to the basics so you guys can just erase all the other stuff. None of this works without people, human beings. Okay. It doesn't matter the robots, it doesn't matter what AI does and says. If we're gone, they're gone. Do you understand? Now, early in our human years, slavery was physical. You could see it. It was normal. Everybody knows slaves existed. They're in our movies, and everybody understand that. Now, don't forget, economies cannot work without humans. Do you understand? So now I understand that slavery has just, it's illegal physically, but it's not illegal psychologically. Capitalism it cannot work without debt slaves. It can't. To me, right there, that's absolutely amazing. It's amazing. How long do you think it took to get millions of people to believe they own something and they don't even own themselves? That's amazing. That's just amazing to me. I'm not on here saying, "Oh, it's bad, it's evil." It's nothing. It's a thing. Capitalism capitalism is just a word that is describing a thing. It cannot work without humans. Do you guys understand that? None of this works without people. And you know what else is so amazing? It's just the number line. All of us were taught the number line in elementary school. I'm mad at myself when I think about that. I used to be. Here I'm a college educated computer engineer that doesn't know how to use the number line on my own finances. You know how embarrassing that is to even know that? I mean, nobody knows that because millions of people are in debt. I'm just saying because I know it. Debt slaves are here. They're just not physical anymore. They're psychological debt slaves. Debt slaves have no idea why they have to go and ask the bank like the bank is their daddy to buy anything. They don't even stop and say, "Hey, why do I have to do that?" You know, I didn't think about that once when I was in the debt matrix. I never thought to myself and said, "Hey, wait a minute. I'm a grown man. Why do I got to go to the bank and ask their permission to buy a car?" That don't even make any sense. None, zero. "Hey, bank, can you help me buy a house?" Why am I asking them? Why am I asking them? "Okay, sir, we got to run some things and check all this other stuff and see your debt to income ratio." I'm like, Wait a minute. How come I don't know that?" Exactly. That's the question. Why don't you know your own debt to income ratio? Why? Because you're in debt. You think the banks are not big, bad, and evil? They're not none of that. Take your feelings out of it. Taxes taxes are not bad. They're a form of income for those who know. See, you listen to me, you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't believe me? Like when I say people in debt can't lower themselves in their tax bracket, go to it. Listen, go to any tax profession. Don't just take my word for it. Okay, go to any tax professional, and this is how you got to phrase the question. Mathematically speaking, Make sure you start with that. That's a must. Mathematically speaking, can I invest into things to reduce myself in my tax bracket while having a mortgage? The answer is going to be no. Don't just take my word for it. Go ask anybody. Nobody's above. Listen, you guys, it doesn't matter who you ask. I'm gonna give you a heads up. It doesn't matter if the person's a professional or not. Nobody's above math. Nobody. If the calculator says you can't, you can't. Do you understand? Now, when SMD family, when you hear me talking like that, hey, you can't reduce yourself in your tax bracket because if you got a mortgage and da da da, they don't know what I'm talking about. Then who would I be saying this for? People like you and me. Think back before you became a SMD family member. Think back at what attracted me to LJ on SMD. I'm looking for those people like you and me that knew something's wrong, something's not right, something doesn't make sense, or something like, do you know SMD family, you know how beautiful this is to be able to speak a language that very few even know exist. They don't listen, they can't speak something that they don't even know exists. They do not know the SMD perspective exists. SMD is its own perspective with its own language. What's up, cupcakes? Good evening, LJ, and everyone in the comment section. One man told me I think I'm better than him because he don't have any. He said one man told me I think I'm better than him because I don't have any debts. I think that's what you were saying, debt. Well, you gotta. That's why you can't really tell too many people that. Don't even when somebody says that to you, they don't really understand what they're really saying about themselves. He said, one person told me I thought I was better than him because I was debt free. I said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not better than anyone else, but I just made better financial decisions. You can't even talk to people like that. I went on to explain, there you go, wasting your energy. Don't do that. I don't have to get to the latest car, newest outfit, or newest piece of jewelry. I also told them I don't try to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashian financially. Yep, too much energy. Let me for the SMD family, I want you guys to listen to this part. Okay, this is important. Where I'm at today, besides being debt free, owning my own business, blah blah blah, right? I have absolutely no negativity in my life at all in any form, especially from people internally, nothing. Okay. With being at the place I'm at today, I realized how much energy is used when I was in things learning to get to this process. That's the best way I could say it. Like when you guys saw me living in South Carolina with that person, with that woman, now that I'm free of that, okay, I now realize how much of my energy that was being used to even survive in that situation. To know how much energy was being absorbed, arguing every single week and fighting and all this other. I mean, this was happening the energy amount and even the energy amount of wrong people in your life wondering why they're doing something and not telling you the truth. It could be people in your family. You have to remove those people in order to see how much energy you are using keeping those type of people in your life. Now, combine this so you guys can kind of see how this energy. Imagine going back to being a debt slave, because this is how you can feel it better, right? You remember how much stress and stuff you were when you were in debt. You was probably in a bad relationship and all this other stuff. But take all that, that's all energy, thinking about bills and debt all the time. And then you combine it with a bad relationship. Uh, Maybe you're not happy at your job. Bad relationship with the ex because you're in a relate. You guys have kids together. All of that energy combined, working 40 plus hours a week, not getting hardly any sleep. You don't realize how much energy that is. That is a ton of energy. I have no idea. Now that I'm out, I have no idea how I was even still walking in that relationship. How I was even still walking. That energy amount, it's unbelievable. Today, I don't allow any of that in my life. None of it. Zero. What's up, Wayman? How you doing, sir? I'm not trying to remember that financial stress of my. You know what? Just it's really one day you'll be able to get to a point to where you can look back and no feelings will be attached to it. Okay? Because that part is very important. Go back when there were no feelings. If you wait long enough, wait long enough, one day it's not going to be like that. You'll go, and then you can be able to see the pluses that you gain from and be able to tell your story to other people. But even reading some of your text messages here, when people like that say things and then you try to explain to them, that's just a waste of energy because they don't really want to hear that. They're not really happy for you. They don't even understand you. And I want the SMD family to really understand there are perspectives. Go back to the basics. Economies don't work without humans. Just leave it that basic, okay? Slavery was physical years ago. You could see it. It was legal. Slavery can't, if slavery stops, economies don't work. Do you guys understand that? They don't work. So they switched them from physical to psychological. That's it. Hey, it takes 30 years to buy a house. It takes 7 years to buy a car. Oh, sure, you can invest while having mortgages and student loan debt. You know how long that must have taken to do that kind of stuff? Everything saying that math says you can't do any of that, they make people believe that they can. That's amazing to me. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter your age, where you live, if you live in a bad neighborhood or a good neighborhood. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. And they listen, and they don't know, and they don't know. You don't believe me? You can go ask damn near 99% of people with mortgages, are you a homeowner? They will tell you yes. They will say yes to your face. Listen, add it to their portfolios, their financial portfolios, negative things to their financial portfolios, believing it's positive. That's amazing, don't you think? It only takes one day to buy a house, not 30 years. Talking about the value in their cars when they finance them. Do you guys understand? They don't know that. They don't even know when I'm talking. I'm talking in the debt. I'm talking in the SMD perspective right now. They don't know what I'm saying. What I'm sharing with you guys, I had to learn this slowly. This comes slowly. It cannot come fast because you will have to have a strong mind to be able to see what it really is. Your mind would have to be strong because first you would have to accept that you've been doing it wrong and for a long time. And it counts on what age you wake up. Everything here, let me give an example. Because everything is a perspective. A 30-year-old will find SMD and still say, "Oh man, if I would have woke up 5, 10 years ago, blah blah blah." let me give you another perspective. So I'm 56 right now. So if I go up to a 20-year-old and say, hey, am I old to you? That 20-year-old is going to say yes. You know why? Because they're 20. They just got the earth. Of course, they think that. I don't think I'm old. If somebody in their 20s, like if you're in your 20s and you're listening to this right now, this is your turn to be in your 20s. That's it. It's nothing. So what are you going to do with it? That's all that is. You just got here. You just don't know you just got here. If a 20-year-old, even 30-year-old, hey man, you're old, I won't be offended. You have to get here. You understand? You have to get to 56. As I was growing up, there's a lot of people that didn't even make it here. You got to take care of yourself. You got to eat right. You got to move your body. Don't just let it go. You got to. This is let me tell you the most important thing. I'm way off, but this is the most important thing I did not realize until I escaped. My brain, the brain inside my skull. The only way my brain can repair itself, I have to be asleep. I can't be doing anything in order for my brain to repair itself. Now, this is a something that I think I shared once before, but when I finally quit my job back in 2016, let me explain this to you so you guys can get it if this ever happens and you'll understand why. I mean, when I first quit my job in 2016, all I did for the next 2 to 3 months was sleep. I'd wake up, eat something, get back into bed, and go to sleep. Get up, go to sleep, get up, eat, go to sleep for 3 months. You know why? That was my brain thanking me for the much needed sleep because after about 2 or 3 months, it just stopped. Here I was hustling and grinding like all the videos tell you to do. Listen, you guys better stop believing them videos. No, listen, nobody mentions sleep. You notice that? I want you to pay attention to that. What about think to yourself, hey, as you're listening to them, say, hey, what about my brain? Sleep is so important for your brain. We totally forget about it because we be so busy. You can't do nothing without your brain. We can't. You couldn't do the things you do every day. Things are too important to stop and do something. You can't do nothing with no brain. My brain loves me. Do you understand that? Loves me for the decisions I've made. And when I say, like, when you're in the debt matrix, when I finally got some sleep, it really wasn't good sleep because I was probably thinking about some bills. I was probably thinking about the relationship I was in, the problems I was having. Maybe I was arguing. It wasn't good sleep. Today, I get good sleep. Good sleep. No problem sleep. No issues, no bad people in my life, no no negativity of any kind. I don't even listen to other people's negativity. You don't be calling me telling me about negativity. My brain loves me. I'm 56 years old. And I'm gonna tell you something. My brain has never been the sharpest that has ever been in my life. Do you understand? Everything is about perspective. The things I could see, I clearly see Mr. Ramsey's plan of how he does business. Anything that doesn't make sense is usually a clue. of to why it doesn't make sense. Excuse me. I realize too, because some people come to me for help, but they would just, ask basic questions. I'm like, okay, I'm not charging enough because I know what SMD is. I know what SMD can do for a person's life. And those of you that do not know, SMD helps you own the business of yourself. Do you understand? By showing you why you do not today, why you don't own yourself. That's how I show you. If you want to become wealthy, I'm gonna show you why you're not wealthy today, why you're not rich, why you're not a business owner, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. I'll show you why. Rich, and always remember this. Every word you hear, especially financially, everybody has a different perspective of wealthy, rich. Always remember that. Anytime you think of the word rich, wealthy, it's not the same perspective as somebody else. Always remember that. So if somebody says, "I'm trying to be rich," you don't know what their perspective of rich is. Somebody might see somebody driving a nice Mercedes Benz down the street and say, "Oh, that person's rich." That car doesn't mean they're rich. If you don't believe me, go up to the person with the nice car and say, "Hey, man, did you finance this?" As soon as they say yes, that means they're not rich. Or else they just would have bought the car. What'd you say, Owen? My parents will be 59 this year and haven't escaped yet. Oh, man. And see, Owen, that's one of those dilemmas. And make sure you take good notes at this because I promise you, Owen, you're going to be able to use this because there are going to be millions of people in your exact same generation that's going to run into this. What if my parents don't wake up? They're starting to look at me to depend on me because that's what they do. Not change their habits, right? Don't change their habits. And they see you doing good and you're happy. They're like, okay, our kid is our backup plan without even asking, no asking of permission of anything. What do you do in that situation? I don't know. That's all new to me. Well, that problem for me is really no problem now because my parents are cut out of my life. So I don't really worry about that anymore. I'm 52, and when I cut out the dramatic people, I became more happier. Automatic, you know why? Because you got that energy back that they were sucking you dry. Vampire movies are real, people. They're trying to physically showing you something that's psychological. Negative people, narcissists, those guys are energy vampires. Energy vampires. Listen, this is where I'm at. Wherever I'm at, and I feel some type of energy from a person, I don't ignore it. Maybe I don't know what it is right away, but it's something because I'm feeling it. So I just make myself aware of it. And if it's negative, that person's not coming into my life. I don't care who it is, family, kids, anybody. It doesn't matter because I'm here for a short time. I am clearly, now that this is what wealthy people understand. So you guys, it's the time in your life is the most important thing on earth, the time in your life. This is the secret that everybody wants. True wealth is owning the time in your life. Nothing comes above that. You guys understand that? So if you go somewhere and somebody disrespects, hey, you be here at 5 and they show up 5:15, 5:20, you give them a warning. Say, hey man, I said 5 o'clock. Oh, you're a prick, asshole, whatever. Hey, listen, If you tell somebody basically respect my time, and then they start talking about you or trying to say backward compliments or names, remove them. That means they need to be removed because they don't understand, unless you want to waste the energy to take your time explaining why they should respect your time. If they show up late, they don't even respect their own time. Because this is how you got the people that don't understand how it works. This is how it works. People that don't respect their time, they don't respect other people's time. So if you told this person that doesn't respect time to be there at 5, they're probably think about all the things they're doing before the 5 o'clock time, probably doing all kind of time wasting things, whatever, right? And then they try to put it on you by wasting your time because you got to be stuck there until they show up there. No, that's not acceptable. Because those people, they don't believe you unless you tell them and show them. It's usually going to be a combo of the both, because you'll tell them and then they'll say okay, but they'll still do it anyway. And then when they do it, you got to show them, hey, meet me here at 5, and you know that they don't get there about 5, you just leave. And then when they call you, say, hey, where you at? You say, I left. Anybody that you feel jealous, if you feel that envious, jealous feeling, energy coming off of them, you better focus in on that person. Because a person that's not a jealous person, and then you feel jealous energy from another person, it kind of confused me because I used to get that all the time. Jealous of what? What am I doing? I'm not doing nothing to nobody. But that's irrelevant. Now, today, I know exactly why I feel the energy from a jealous or envious person. Because first of all, that's how they've been living all their life, jealous and envious of people, everybody around them. So they're emitting that energy naturally. They don't know they are, they just are. This is the SMD perspective, okay? They don't know that they are, they just are. And since I'm not jealous of anyone or anything, I'm a receiver of that. I can easily receive it. So now when I feel it and even see it, I just acknowledge it. Okay, that person they don't really like me. They're just trying to pretend to be. Okay, whatever. I didn't know that. Because I was just so confused when I would feel like I'm not trying to be better than I'm not trying to that's irrelevant. Nothing. The SMD perspective, SMD family is beautiful. Do you understand? When I feel that energy, I just saw, okay, I just look at the person. It counts on, if it's a social situation, who cares? I'm not going to see that person anymore. But if I feel it at a family function or some kind of relatives, okay, let me just focus in on this person. It's beautiful. I had to be prepared for this. What I'm sharing to earn. I had to earn this SMD perspective. I had to earn it. SMD was just the beginning. You understand? That was just the start. Get owning myself, it was the key to waking me up. God knew that. Now when I look at like the retirement age is 67, right? Eh, Now I see that number. I'm like, wow. If you believe that, listen, if you even believe that, you're in the debt matrix. If you believe, listen, if you believe retirement is an age, not only an age, if you believe it's 67, that's if you took care of your body, you ate right, you wasn't stressed, you didn't have debt and problems, and you took care of your health, went to the doctor every 6 months. Yeah, right. Retirement. Now you can enjoy life. No, you're not. No, you're not. I thank God every day that he woke me up in my early 40s. And I thank God I listened. I thank God I listened. I had no answers. All he said was, trust me. You got to trust me. That's what God kept telling me. You got to trust me. You got to trust me. Well, I've been going to school and I made all this money. It took me a long time to earn six figures and this and that. Hey, God just kept saying, do you trust me? I said, okay, I trust you. Thank God I did. People thought I was crazy, quitting a six-figure job. What are you doing? Here, let me explain. Here's another thing. Okay, this is a good one. Okay, so as a computer engineer, I worked in a building. Okay, I went to a building. Every 1 second. I went to a building every day. Okay, and I had a cubicle, nice computer setup, 4 or 5 screens. You know, I was a top 3-level engineer, right? So I got debt free completely in 2015, but I quit my job in 16. But within that year, having a job as a debt free person would change my life, totally changed my life, my whole perspective. So let me explain to you. So once I became debt free in 2015, when I would start driving to work, I started saying to myself, I got to do this every day. Something I've been doing for years. Waking up at a particular time, getting out on the road, not 10 minutes late because it's going to be too much traffic. I had everything down. I knew where all the potholes were in the road, and all this stuff. And I remember, you know, about a month or 2, 3 in, driving to work, I was like, I got to go into this building and stay for 8 hours. This is what I'm saying to myself. Something I was doing every single day, 5 days a week. But now it was bothering me. And then I would go, I would be like, damn, lunch is 4 hours away. And then they let me out for an hour. And then I gotta come back. Cause you know how many times I would go out to lunch, eat my meal, and not want to go back to work. I would just want to go home. But I couldn't because I had to go back. Going to my job became, it was like torture. Because when I pull up to the computer building, I'm there about 9 hours. Really, truly, honestly, I'm in there about 9 hours every day. And I was like, every day? Till 1 year later, God told me to quit. He said, you got to quit. I was still scared, terrified. What if I don't make 6 figures again? Blah, blah, blah. Then I quit. I was like, I gotta be locked in that room. I gotta be locked in that building all day, hearing people's, you know, once you're debt free and then you're in the work environment, the way debt slaves talk, I couldn't take it anymore. Hey man, I took out a second mortgage and I'm gonna add a patio to my house and this and that. Oh, I got so much equity. Oh my God, you just don't want to hear it anymore. They don't know what they're saying. I have this woman at my job who hurt her leg and she stands 7 days a week on it. She was in tears and the people didn't understand why she's doing it. I said, she's in debt. Why? Oh yeah, that's right. I said she is in debt. That's why. And they couldn't hear me. Of course, you can't say stuff like that out loud. And that's, when you think about it, that's hardcore. When you see, like when I go to this, there's an Olive Garden not too far from me, right? When I go to this Olive Garden, there is this lady, this older lady. She's working there. She's hopping, serving food, and she has to hold on to the rails to get the food to the person's table. She's like holding on to things as she walks with the tray to get to the table. You know why that is? Because she's in debt. She has to do that. When you see somebody in pain working, that's exactly what that means. And when you're young and when you're in your 20s and 30s, I hope you guys are paying attention to that, okay? Pay attention to that. Don't think it's never going to be you and all. If you don't make the right financial decisions, it's going to be you. What's up, Wayman? Men should get comfortable having cutoff policy with women, cancels on them. Oh, when a woman cancels on them, yeah, she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it to a man whom she valued. She'd be sitting there waiting a day ahead of time for her celebrity crush. You know what? And in my perspective of the world too, Wayman, this is me, okay? And this is where I'm at today. First of all, I wouldn't even have any kind of relationship if she's in debt. We're not even going to be friends because people in debt have problems and they want to be able to call somebody and talk to them about them, especially debt problems, right? And especially as far as a relationship, that wouldn't even come close. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even have to bother with cutoff policy of women canceling on me because I already know not dating a woman who's in debt shrinks the pool by so dramatic, like just 90%. And even if a woman comes across this video and heard this, they wouldn't really believe it because they've probably never heard a man even say that to them. I guarantee you that. You're in debt? Yeah, no. Yeah, we can't date. Why? You think you're better than me? You think, hey, listen, after I leave here, you're not going to see me anymore? Stop talking to me. You ain't all that. I know. That's why I'm leaving. I'm nothing, none of that. What's up, QJC? Yeah. When the debt slaves talk about six figures, they're talking about 100 gross. Sure is $100 gross. Debt slaves don't know the difference between gross and net. I've learned that. That's important. It's funny because it wasn't until I became SMD. I didn't think that behavior to debt. Oh, I didn't link that behavior to debt. Got it. Got it. Debt will make you do outrageous things. It will unconsciously too. I want the SMD family to understand it's a perspective that they live that they don't know they are living. Whenever you're surprised, I'm not surprised anymore, but when I used to try to remove my feelings, I thought about how I used to think when I lived in the debt matrix perspective. I always kept my credit score good. I was never late on my payments because I knew that that's the only way I'd be able to get loans to go in more debt if I was a good boy and paying my payments to my owners on my credit report. I did not know my credit report were my papers, people. Are you listening to me? My credit report, they were my debt slave papers right in my face, right in my face. Is it good? Is the score good? Oh, you got to do this and spend a quarter of your credit card. And then all of that is, listen, none of that stuff makes sense. Oh, only use 2/3 of your credit card and make sure you pay it on this date just before the posting date. Listen, if you can't even keep up with your payments, you're not keeping up with any of that. None of it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if half those people work for the banks. Those people are all trained to teach you how to get loans. Do you guys understand that? It doesn't matter how they tell you to do it. That's totally up to you. If it's this way, that way, through the whatever, it's a loan is a loan. SB family, I want you guys to see the bigger picture. Do you know the stock market couldn't exist if they didn't get loans? Debt slaves, listen, this is how I want you guys to see it. The businesses in the stock market they're basically getting indirect loans from the bank. Free interest-free loans. Do you understand? By the debt slaves. The debt slaves, remember, debt slaves have no money, none. They borrow money to invest in the stock market. Do you understand? If the banks didn't loan debt slaves money, there would be no money to go into the stock market because they have no money. You guys understand? That's how it works. If they have a mortgage and they're talking about investing in the stock market and talking about the S&P and this and that, they have no idea what they're talking about. If somebody with a mortgage comes up to you talking about how they're investing in the stock market, stop listening to them. They're telling you how you could save money on taxes and this and that, and you find out they're making car payments. You better stop listening to them. You can't save money on taxes. You can't save money on taxes while you're paying interest at the same time. You can't do that. Math says that's impossible. That's what math says. Interest is positive, debt is negative. You got to choose which way are you going. You going up or down? There's a number. There's always a number to where you're going, but positive or negative, that choice is yours. Put it this way. Let's put it this way. Those of you that believe you own equity in your mortgaged house, okay? You need to do this, okay? This is important, okay? Open up the calculator app. Put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance. Now, these are the people that believe they have equity in their house, okay? Mortgage payment minus mortgage balance and hit equal. That number on your calculator, that number, that's your equity right there. Now, if you see a negative number on your calculator, if you choose to believe it's positive, that's a choice. You could choose that. Why you would go against the calculator, I don't know, because no human on earth has ever broken the laws of mathematics. But if you choose at this moment to look at that large negative number and believe and try to turn it into a positive as equity or something, that's a choice. Do you understand? That's called the debt matrix perspective, where you believe you could take a negative number and turn it into positive. Like you say the magic word equity and that number turns to positive. It doesn't. It doesn't change. You think you have equity when the calculator is showing you don't. What do you listen? If you listen to this, what do you want? Do you want to live in the debt? Do you want to live in the debt matrix perspective for the remainder of your life? You don't have to. You can come all over to the SMD perspective and live and know more than 99% of the people in the world. Do you understand that? Because capitalism is everywhere. If I decided to go over to the UK and open a business, guess who I'm gonna hire to start my business up and run my financials? Guess who I'm gonna hire? People who are debt free in the United Kingdom. Because the only thing that's different, they use different paper there. Money, listen, SMD family, in this perspective, money is an illusion. Actually, all forms of currency are illusions to debt slaves. Okay. It doesn't matter. So if I go over to the UK, the only difference is they use different paper there. The law says, hey, if you come here, you use this paper. Okay, whatever. Hey, these are the taxes you pay here. Whatever. Whatever. I'm going over there following all the tax laws and rules. Because if I'm cheating on my taxes, that means I don't know how to play. That's why I'm cheating. Indeed, LJ, living by one's personal philosophy solves a lot of problems from the jump. Sure do. I'm comfortable eliminating many so-called opportunities because I know what is and what is not for me. It's so, man, once you're clear, let me tell you something. You already know, Wayman. I can even tell by the way you're saying it. Once you're clear, I don't really, when you guys hear me talk on the mic, I'm not out in public talking like this. People can feel my energy, though. Don't get me wrong. People can feel my energy. They know some. I'm not dressed fancy. I'm not. I'm not looking. I'm not driving up in a Benz or nothing. I'm not doing anything. But when people look at me, they're like, "Okay, what's up with that guy? What's he do? I can't figure it out." No, you'll never figure it out. This is what people that want money so bad that they think they have to wear certain things. When you have money, you can look like anything you want. That's true. That's true wealth. Look like anything you want. You don't have to wear Gucci and all this other stuff. You don't have to let people know. Like what cracks me up, right? Like let me give you an example, okay, so you guys can understand perspective. Something everybody knows that like that singer Justin Bieber, okay, and every time he goes somewhere and he gets out the car, people hound him with cameras. He always looking like he didn't want to be bothered. But he drives up in a Lamborghini, some kind of fancy exotic car. If you don't want to be bothered, you wouldn't drive a car like that. You could hide yourself. Nobody's going to know, but they're looking for it. So when you're a person that think you have to wear name brands or whatever, because that's what you're looking for, you're attracting the people that live in your perspective. If you don't, if the only perspective you know is the debt matrix perspective, that means you don't know other ones. You don't know other ones exist. And if you don't know other ones exist, you don't know how we speak, what we're looking for, what we're not looking for, what is said. Like people in debt, you guys don't understand. That's a language within the debt matrix perspective. Equity, you own this and that for, you own an X amount of equity in your mortgaged house. You've been living there 15 years. You have two mortgages on one house, but you still believe the value is yours. That's a perspective. If you believe that the equity in the house is yours, why don't you just go down to the bank and say, hey, man, just give my equity in cash. I don't want to sign no paperwork. And I definitely don't want to pay any interest. See if you get it. See if they say, okay, we'll give it to you. You're not. You won't. The bank gives debt slave mortgages and car loans off of gross pay and net, and not net for sure. Now, QJC, look deep into that. Look deep into that. They are starting them so far upside down, basing their car payments on gross income, money that they're not even going to get. For those of you that do not know what gross incomes means, that means the IRS hasn't got their cut yet. Net means they got their money. Here's the rest for you. That's what that means. If you hear the word net, that means the IRS got their cut. If you hear gross, that means they didn't. So if you go in there and listen, QJC, they'll go in there and base the car payments not only on gross income, on overtime hours on top of that. They work overtime, which pushes them higher into their tax bracket. Then they go out and get a car based on that gross income. Oh my goodness. I can't, I can't believe I allowed that to happen to me. You know how many cars I financed? Too many to count. Because I had to look like I was making six figures. I had to make sure everybody knew that. Oh, what are you, a computer engineer? Totally forgetting about who am I without a computer engineer attached to my name? Who am I? I know who I am today, but I didn't think about it then. Because you got to remember, inside the debt matrix, The first question, what do you do? What do you do? That's the first question, which it actually means nothing. What a person does is almost irrelevant. If they're in debt, they're in debt. What do you do? Oh, I'm a so and so, so and so. I'm a so. Who are you without that name attached to your name, or who you are? You know how many people don't know that? They don't know. They don't even know who they are without a job title. I had to fight through that. You know how hard that was to give up LJ Young, computer engineer, third tier, whatever stupid nonsense they gave me when they hired me. I was acting like my job title name belonged to me. No, it's the name they gave to me when they hired me. As soon as they fired me or I quit, they take it back. Get debt free. You're going to look at your job totally different. You're going to understand capitalism in a whole different way. What do you mean taxes? Taxes are a form of income. Sure are. You know why? Because debt slaves can't do it. They don't even know they can't save for retirement, let alone believing retirement is an age on top of that. Listen closely, SMD family. Look at all these plans. Hey, how much I want you to see how it works. All these companies. Hey, how much do you think you need for retirement by the time you get to age 65 and this and that? You know why they're asking those questions? Because they don't know. They don't even, all you got to do is turn to a debt slave and say, do you know how much debt you're in? They don't even know that. How you going to know how much money you need to retire when you don't know how much debt you're in today? They don't know that. So that's why they come up with all these things to sell them products that's some money's gonna be there at the end of the rainbow when they retire. And trust us, we're gonna do it right. Don't trust yourself. You can make if I knew this in my 20s and 30s, I can make the fastest amount of money faster than any investment inside of a stock bond or whatever. I could do it myself. I just invest in myself. That's it. Just invest in myself. By what? Not getting in debt. Use the number line that I was taught in elementary school on my finances. Let me tell you something, SMD family. Coming into business, you might not know what it is yet, okay? But I promise you this, coming into business, you're going to have an advantage of the majority of people in business. I'm learning so much. Once I get a lot of things down solid, I'm learning so much I'm going to be able to transfer to you guys. Oh man, I'm learning so much. Put it this way, when you discover something, like first you're going to play with whatever your business idea. First you got to see if it's going to make some money. But once you determine that it's a money maker, make sure you get all your paperwork done professionally. Don't try to do it yourself. Hire a company to do your paperwork, and most definitely hire a professional business accounting firm to do your business taxes. Okay, make sure you do that. Don't do none of that yourself. You've never been here. Don't try it yourself. Hire the professionals. Don't mess around. Just understand you have to put away some money aside to start your business. Put away some money aside for to hire a business to do your business taxes. Don't worry, that's a business expense, all right? But don't mess around with that. Make sure it's all done, because it's going to take you about 2 or 3 years to get your tax flow going, right? That's the best way I can say it. The way it's done, you're going to have a particular flow to make sure it's flowing, right? So everything is paid when it comes around, blah, 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 blah. You just want to make sure you do all that. Once that flow happens, then you kind of relax. Okay, well, can I get some things now or whatever, right? But not until you get your business flowing and then you get your tax flow flowing. Okay, that's the best way I could say that part. But once you figure out how taxes become a form of income, you're gonna love it. Some of you guys hear me say it, you probably really don't get what I'm saying now. You kind of can do it at your job now. Like if you got a 401k, think about it this way. Say like you're debt free and you're working right now, right? If you put $5,000 into a 401k, like make sure you ask a professional, but this is how I understand how it works. You put $5,000 to a 401k, you'll be able to take $5,000 off of your taxable income. Okay. Debt slaves don't have $5,000 to put into a 401k to reduce themselves in their tax bracket. You understand? They don't have the money. You do. So by you not being in debt, you can actually take a real $5,000, invest it into your 401k, which will reduce you in your tax bracket by $5,000. You understand? That's called the reason why it's a form of income, because you can do it, but debt slaves can't. That's why it's a form of income for you. Saving money on taxes means more money in your pocket. You see what I'm saying? That's the form of income. That's what that means. Now, this doesn't even say like there's you come across an investor that's really good at investing, okay? But this person's in debt and he doesn't know it. This person could still be good at what they do. They're just missing this piece. That's all. But to find a person that's into the stock market who's debt free, that would be the person you're looking for. That's the person you want, because they would be able to see that. They would be able to see things that others cannot. They just Debt slaves, like think about it. Debt slaves don't know they're debt slaves. That's number one. How many debt slaves do you think there are investing in the stock market? How many of them do you think use margin to invest? Why do you think margin's there? For people that have no money. That's why margin's there, for people that have no money. QJC says, LJ, do you think the system push mortgages on homes more than on debt slaves because they are cheaper than a mobile home? Do you think the system pushed mortgages? Well, I think it's just from the SMD perspective, QJC, it's how real estate works. This is how you gotta always look at it. There's really you don't really have to think about it really deep. Debt slaves can't buy nothing. Let's just start with that. They can't buy anything. Most definitely not a house. Okay. So mortgages are the way the housing market even exists. So that's why when they go get a mortgage, it's just enough to cover the house, and the percentage. What the money down is really just so they can get the money immediately for something that 95% of people that are then not going to pay off anyway. I think they don't really care if it's a regular house or a mobile home. None of that really matters, because the debt slaves have to get a loan for it. Doesn't matter if it's a home, because people would just think about it this way. There are people with mortgages that look down on people that have mortgages on mobile homes, and they both have mortgages. The mobile home or the house, they're irrelevant. No different than when you see a person driving a nice car. If the car has a loan on it, the driver is the main source of the thing. The driver is really irrelevant, but I would say irrelevant, but makes the car relevant. But the driver is the source of income, but the car is irrelevant. Excuse me, the car. Without debt slaves getting mortgages, the housing market couldn't exist. I am so glad I listened to myself. I was scared as hell to quit that job with no backup plan of anything. And God said, trust me. He just kept saying, trust me. Trust me. But I got to have guarantees. Trust me. Thank God I did. I asked him to show me, what am I missing, God? And he showed me. I would have never in a million years known that I was living in the debt matrix perspective my entire life. You hear me? My entire life. If I didn't trust God, I wouldn't be able to be talking to you guys about what I'm talking to you about because I didn't know it existed. Money is a straight illusion. All forms of currency are straight illusions for debt slaves. We have the best debt slaves in the world. You understand? And we got the military to make sure they stay ours because it took a long time to raise these debt slaves. Imagine the amount of years it took for them to no longer understand or know that it only takes one day to buy a house. I want you guys to let that go ahead and soak in. We have millions of debt slaves believe they own something. They think they're homeowners. That takes a lot of training and work and paperwork. Believe it. Believe it. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Get school loans, You ain't gonna be nothing if you don't get a college degree. Because remember, debt slaves. Listen, I want you guys to follow it, okay? Debt slaves have no money, so of course they're not gonna have any money for college, okay? They have no money, so of course they're not gonna have money for college. That's what student loans is there. Hey, and then they tell you all your life you ain't gonna be shit if you don't have a college degree, and then you just believe it. Sign up for the student loans, be in college for 4 years, doing all that studying, and you're like, all right, I'm free. Now I can get this job, and now I can just go buy whatever I want, totally forgetting about the student loan. And they make the interest rate really, really low so you don't think about it. Isn't that brilliant? That's amazing to me. I'm a computer engineer, one of the top people at my job, but I'll go to college for 3 years and pay all my student loans for 10. I got my degree in 3 because I didn't go to no summers off. I just went straight through, but kept my student loans for 10. Not one person came to me and said, "Hey, LJ, that doesn't make sense." Imagine when a imagine when a debt slave goes to ask for a mortgage. They go fill out an application for a mortgage, and then when the bank runs their credit reports, they find out they haven't paid off their student loans yet. As long as your credit good, they're going to approve you. You know why? Because they know you're never going to pay off the house. If you didn't pay off your student loans, you're not paying off a house. Approved. So you could have the house for the next 15 years, telling everybody you're a homeowner. Every time you fill out an application, you check homeowner. Hey, you do whatever you want. The whole time they own it and you in it. I appreciate that. It was a scary chance I took, but I had to because God told me to. Because when growing up, they just say, it was just shoving it down my throat. Hey, man, you got to put away this much so you can have X amount in the bank and this and that. You need 1 million or 2 million to survive. And that's it. What you don't know, what they're telling you, they're telling you about the debt matrix perspective. Once you're debt free, regular housing prices don't apply to you no more. You're probably thinking, well, how is that, LJ? Because there are people going in foreclosure every day, tax liens every day. But you have to buy that stuff in cash. That's where people with money come in. They buy that with cash. You ever hear, look up a YouTube video about Dave Ramsey buying homes in 2020. You know why? Because all the debt slaves that couldn't afford the houses were losing them. So, and the banks don't want all that. They don't want all those empty houses. Of course, they're going to take that money. That's where people like Dave come in and swoop up and get real estate for cheap. They know it's coming back up. People need a place to live. When you have money and then there's a housing 2008 short, that's Christmas time for people with money. That's when you get houses for cheap. But it looks, when you're in the debt matrix, a housing crisis looks horrible because you're in it. That's a perspective. There's a movie out there that I forgot what it's called. It's The Big Short. I'm not sure, but they make it seem like this guy that's portraying this person in the movie, like he's a really smart dude, and he figured out that the bubble was going to happen and all this stuff. That's a movie, people. You don't have to be smart to figure what was going to happen. That wasn't difficult to see. All these people getting houses, no verification of this and that and da da da. What do you think that means? A whole bunch of people getting things that they can't afford. It's gonna stop. No different than when what the purpose of 50-year mortgages are for. 50-year mortgages are gonna fill up all these houses, all these vacant houses. Because debt slaves are gonna believe that they can be part of the American dream with a 50-year mortgage. But if you're a person listening to this right now, open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and hit the equal sign. You know what that number says? You're dreaming. That's what that says. You're living the American dream. You see that large negative number? That says you're living the American dream. That's what that says. That number says loan owner, not homeowner. That number doesn't say equity. Equity is a positive number. That's what the bank says. Equity is a word. It's not even a number, it's a word. When you say, I have equity in my house, just remember you're saying a word. It's not money. Equity is not money, it's a word. It's a word that says, hey, you can borrow real money from us. You can borrow our money. What's up, Mecca? Welcome. What's up, Omanike? I am glad I sold that house in 21. Damn, it's been, wow, 21, 5 years already. I thank SMD for the insight. I miss the house sometimes, but it was an illusion. It was an illusion. Of course, you're still gonna have those feelings because you put your love into it, probably fix it up, the paintings and all the other stuff. I get it, totally get it, and not like it's not gonna happen again. Just put it in your mind. Put in, picture what you want in your mind again, Omanike, and let God figure out the rest. Don't try to say, "Oh, I got to do this to get that." It'll just happen once you make it up in your mind. I live by example. So This is what I see with SMD. This is what I picture. I'll be traveling the world, helping others in capitalist societies, whatever, right? And then we'll have SMD family members all over the world. This it's gonna it's gonna this community creating a community like this all over the world is going to solve many problems, especially for SMD family members especially when it comes to relationships. We don't date debt slaves. So what that means is that that's an automatic 90%, 95% of the population has been eliminated. You understand? There are no exceptions. There are no exceptions. So SMD family members, more than one, has come up to me and said, "Hey, LJ, what are you doing about relationship? I haven't done nothing. I just know what I'm not going to accept. I'm cool by myself. I'm not accepting anything less because I had to work very hard to be where I am now, even talking to you guys on the mic today. This is how SMD was born. First, I got debt free. I couldn't talk to nobody. Nobody was paying attention to anything I was saying. They thought I was crazy. I'm like, okay, let me just start making videos because I got to reach some other people that are like me that know that something's missing or something's wrong. You know, that's how it works. So the SMD perspective is just another one of those things. A lot of people say, "Hey, man, LJ, that's why your views are low uh, because what you talk about. I know they're supposed to be low. That's how it's supposed to be. It has to be that way. There must be people that know. Those are the minority, and the majority must not know. That's how capitalism works. The majority can't know." Okay, says I was listening to a lady today. She said the number one reason for divorce, the lack of finances, and then infidelity is second. Well, you know, even when I was in the debt matrix, I used to always hear that the number one reason for divorce is finances. Well, even it's got to be a case by case basis because, okay, is it a lack of finances, knowledge inside of a debt slave relationship? Because I've learned so many things. If it's a nine 99% of the relationships that break up over finances, I guarantee you the couple were in the debt matrix, the majority of them. Oh, we got to split the house and this and that, and it's got a mortgage on it. You can have it. You can have it. Most of the time, that's what I was thinking, that both people were debt slaves. Yeah, most of like S&D family, the most of the when you guys hear financial information on the internet or on a video, you have to understand they are talking about the majority of people in the debt matrix when they talk about stuff like that. When you see, like I was saying earlier, when you see a bunch of like insurance videos or investment type of videos, and they start talking about how much you'll need to retire 60, 70 years from now, they know you're not going to know. You don't even know what's past tomorrow. What you do need to know is that if you don't know how much debt you're in today, because if you don't know how much debt you're in today, you have no idea how much you're going to need tomorrow. You don't even know. Listen, you don't even know how much money you need today to survive. When they start, if you're a person that is really caught up in it, when you got a person talking about how much you're going to need 50, 60 years from now, all you need to ask yourself is this: how much money would I need to last a month with no job? Forget 50 or 60 years from now. How long could I last without a job? 1 month, 2 months? Figure that part out first. Figure out why you can't last a month without a job. One single month. Maybe it's two. Maybe it's 6 months. Then work your way to a year. How come I can't live a year without a job? But start with a month. This will slowly give you your answers to why you're struggling and why you're not making it and making you're living paycheck to paycheck and stuff. I promise you, or you could just come to me and you can accelerate, step on the Star Trek transporter beam and beam yourself out of there. I can listen, I can beam you right out of the debt matrix, beam you right out of it. But if you're listening to me and you think you could do it yourself, do it yourself. I'm not saying that you can't. But I'm gonna say you're gonna be walking when you could be beamed out of there. My dad was debt free, but he had to deal with my gambling mother. Oh yeah, that's gotta be bad. My aunt told me he contemplated divorce, but he stayed because of me and my sibling. The energy, listen, people, okay? I escaped a narcissistic relationship from 2017 to 2023, and I escaped. Now that I'm free of that, the amount of energy, people don't really understand this part because if you're in it every day and you're fighting with your partner and arguing as part of a ritual of every week, let me tell you something. You have no idea the amount of energy that you are wasting, that you are using to even survive in a relationship like that. The only reason why I know, because I'm not part of it anymore, and I can clearly feel, I can still feel and see how much energy I was using to try to maintain that relationship because of feelings, because of family, because of whatever, right? You all you got to do is this. If you want to wake up, okay, and I kid you not, do this. Go to a graveyard near your house. It doesn't even matter if you know anybody in there. Just go to a graveyard and just go through and look at all the dates of people. This is what I do. Me and my friend, we do this every now. Just go to a graveyard and just look at the dates. Seeing people have lived full lives well before I was even born. How many of those people did the same thing you did? Because it really doesn't matter the time. If they were in a bad relationship in the 1800s, they were a bad relationship in the 1800s, no different than now. How many stayed because they had kids together or the family would have looked down on them or whatever? No, no, you better not. You better not. Yes, everybody's going to talk about you, say something's wrong with you. That's what they say to me right now. That's my family. I got family members saying the same thing because I don't accept their behavior. Oh, now LJ's crazy. He's removing everybody from his life. No, I'm only removing the negative people from my life. Of course, the negative people are not going to understand because they are the problem. I don't care if they don't understand. That's their problem. Oh man, that's your mom, LJ. You only have one mom. That it means I just look at that means nothing to me. And if you bring that up, I'm gonna cut you out. True, I've been in one like that, and it was a lot of work and energy, both mentally and physically. Yes. I was in a relationship with a malignant narcissist when I didn't know narcissistic people existed. She is a bad person. I and I want you guys to listen to the way I'm saying because I don't really have no feelings for her like that anymore. I just know the type of person she is. She is a bad person. I could feel this is why I would never doubt my energy anymore, ever. Because I doubted it because it's not physical. Even though everybody knows it's true, you could walk into a room and feel something. Everybody knows it's true, right? But when I was with her, anytime I was around people that she knew or some family member, it felt like everybody knew something I didn't. It felt like they weren't telling me something about her. It always felt like that. Now I know. They were probably crossing their fingers. I hope this one works. I hope this relationship works. I hope she don't run this one off. They can't say nothing. Because if you tell the truth to somebody about a narcissist, they will go off on you. The energy, man. Imagine how many people use their jobs, listen, be in bad relationships and use their job to get away from their partner. That's their time away from their partner, is their job. And listen, and you're in debt together. And you're in a bad relationship and you're in debt and your debt is tied with each other. Imagine the energy and stress. You don't have to have that if you're listening to this video, because I know millions of you are in relationships like this. You're with somebody that don't care about finances and getting you deep in debt. They don't stop even when you tell them. Then they're secretly opening credit cards without your permission, or without letting you, not your permission, without letting you know. It's burying you deeper and deeper because the courts won't care about none of that. You guys are married. The energy that is being used, being with a person like that, it's more than you think it is. Put it this way. If you pass out tired from arguing and stuff with your partner, you know why you're passing out? Because of the amount of energy that you're using to be in a fight with that person for hours and then doing the non-talking. This is what happened to me. A whole week of not talking to each other, living in the same house, physical violence, all this other crazy nonsense. You could just say goodbye. You just got to remove your feelings. It's millions of people. When you're in it, when you're in a bad relationship, the reason why you feel like it's just you, because it is you with that person at the moment. Millions of people are in that situation. Now that I'm out of the narcissistic relationship I was in, I don't think she's the only narcissist. There's millions of narcissists. She just happened to be the one I attached my feelings to. When I was with her, it felt like it was just me. It's not just me. I felt like that because it was me at the time. Now that I'm out, I'm not angry at her or anything like that. I'm just glad I'm not the one with her. Even though dad died of lung cancer 32 years ago because he smoked all his life, I really believe he died at 60 because of the stress of my mother's bad financial choices. And you know what? It's invisible. Those things are invisible. Stress you can't see. And let me tell you something, as I get older, I'm 56 now. For all the people that have probably lived with stress all their life, it's going to show when you get old. What's inside comes out. People age differently. I've noticed that. I'm 56, but I don't look it. I definitely don't feel it, because people think when you hear 56, you think of what you've been told on videos and TV. You get on TikTok, there's always videos of somebody doing something in their 20s, and then they're looking like they're kind of broke down in their 30s. If you're a 30-year-old and you watch a video like that, that video is only true if you believe it. If you believe that's how your body's going to move when you get into your 30s, it's going to do that because that's what you believe. If you don't believe it, it won't be it. You won't believe it. I'm 56 with no debt, no stress, own my own business, have no negative people in my life, no negativity of any kind in my life. I get plenty of sleep, plenty of sleep. My brain loves me. My brain absolutely loves that I give it good sleep so it can repair itself. Dominique says, LJ, you are correct. Since I left the medical field, I have been able to keep the weight off. Cortisol equals stress. Exactly. Exactly, Dominique. Take notes of all of it, Dominique, because you're going to be sharing with somebody one day that's not going to believe it. Hey, how's that really affected? But I need the money and this and that. No, no, you can't do nothing without your brain. Can't do nothing without your body. And retirement age is 67, you're probably not going to make it. And even if you do, what kind of condition is your brain and your body going to be in at 67? See what I'm saying? People don't, and this is just my opinion. Stress is a huge factor. How do I know this? Because I was in a relationship with a narcissist. I was stressed daily. Now that I'm now that I have none of that in my life, now I know how much stress that is because I'm not in it. If God said, "Hey, you want to do that over again?" Hell no. There's no way I could do that. Mom was 14 years younger than dad. Oh, wow. She outlived him by 22 years. Usually women live longer than men, but I think it counts on, honestly, my true belief, how you live your life, stress. Oh, talking to Omanike. In 2022, I was 169. Now I'm 154. Congratulations, Omanike. Just by a job, just from the job. That tells you everything. Yep, stress is just another form of debt, and it must be paid eventually. It sure will be paid. Believe that. I stress over nothing. I'll be 50 in the summer if I live. I'll be 50 this summer if I live and only have a few gray hairs in the top of my crown, but I'm okay. That most people that know me tell me I look like I'm in my 30s because you don't have any stress. You can't tell them that though. They won't believe you because the majority of people believe stress is part of life. I did for years. Now, today, you know the way I live? I limit my social media. I want SMD family to listen to this, please. Listen to this part. Social media will have you, they have you on an emotional roller coaster without you knowing. They will put up videos of wars in other countries, problems in other cities where you don't live. Think about this. If you turn your phone off, you won't know about any of that, especially things going in other countries, in other cities, in other states that have nothing to do with you here where you're at. Your body, without you knowing, your body responds to all that kind of stuff. If you're flipping through TikTok and you see this, like for example, this war that's happening in Mexico because the cartel leader got killed and all this other stuff, and you're hearing all these, I'm hearing all these bullets firing and blowing up stuff, and believe it or not, my body's responding to that. I'm unconsciously thinking, oh, thank God I don't live there. These things are happening in my brain right now. Oh man, if I was there on vacation, I'd have to get. I'm not even there. Why am I putting my body through shit? My body's responding to what I'm looking at and thinking, and I'm not even there. Why am I putting that stress on my body when it doesn't have to be? I cut that stuff off. I don't watch that stuff. I get on TikTok, do what I need to do, get off. Because it'll show you some murders or some wars, and then show you a couple bird videos and a couple animals, bring you back up light, then bring you back down, and then bring you back up, and then bring you over to some political stuff. You can't know everything. Pay attention to that. And if you do it, and if you accidentally do it, and if you're watching TikTok or something, right? And if you feel your body respond to it, right? This is what I want you to do. If you can catch yourself, if you're watching a video and your body is responding to it, turn the phone off, because your body's not going to stop really, really fast just because you turn the phone off. Your body's still going to be going through it. I want you to take a step back and observe your body doing something, responding something to a video, something that's not happening to it. None of that, none of what you saw is happening to you. None of it. It's all made up. It's from a video that you didn't even have to watch. But just turn the phone off and feel your body and look at what your body's going through for something that doesn't even really exist where you live, in your room, in your warm house, on your sofa, with the TV going in the background and probably dinner cooking in the background. Hey, honey, is dinner almost done? And your body's responding to a video that you're watching. That's unnecessary emotional wear on my body. I plan to be here for a long time. It's no different than a car. If you start smashing on the brakes heavy every time on your car, you're going to go through your brakes really fast. Yep, I keep wondering if I made the right decision, but when I saw that gray hair, that was my body showing me I did. Yes, it is. What'd you say? What, did I read this one already? Oh, okay. I got my first gray hair 11 days after I ended my. Oh, I see. Okay, I was reading that wrong. I got my first gray hair after 11 days after leaving the relationship. I took a pic of it and everything. Then it disappeared 2 months later. Oh, wow, disappeared. Wow. Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow. Good observation to catch yourself. That was a good one. Debt-free living is a huge part. And those of you that jumping in this video or might catch this video later, let me tell you something. Stress, debt, excuse me, debt is a huge part of your stress. If you get out of debt, you're gonna feel it. Okay, that's the only way. Because if you've been in debt all your life, that means you've been in survival mode all your life. Once you get out of debt, then and only then will you feel what it will feel like to have that stress removed from your life. Keeping up with all your monthly payments. Because in this generation right here, you guys have it worse than our generation. There are so many apps. This is the app generation. They have you guys signing up for so many different types of apps and things to get you can there's no way you're going to keep up with that. No way you're keeping up with any of that. Now you're going through your life living thinking that monthly payments and having a whole bunch of monthly payments is normal. No, it's not. No, it's not. Imagine this. Here, I'll give you an example. Okay. Let me give you a way you can kind of feel it, kind of feel the stress relief without actually doing it yet, because doing it is the hard part, right? I want you to picture your life right now, your car, where you live, a house, even your job, right? Right now, just picture this. But you own everything. You own your car, you have no debt, you own your car, you own your house, you still have the same job. The only monthly payments you have are your light bill, your water bill, and maybe your car insurance. That's it. You feel that feeling? You feel it? What would that feel like to have your same life right now, same job, everything, same hourly wage, whatever you're making, but you own everything in your life and you have absolutely no debt? You see that feeling? That's what that feeling is right there. That's what it would be like to live exactly the way you're living, but with no debt. I promise you, you won't even have a job very long. You'll figure out the next step is to own my own business, to to live the way I really want to live. Once you once you come out of that and you come into the S&D perspective, then you're going to see what what hourly wages really are. You will see what even salary wages really are. For some reason, I used to think because I was salary and no longer hourly, I thought my salary wage was somehow better than people who were hourly wages. No, it's not. Salary means you're going to be working more hours without getting paid. That's what that means. Without getting paid more. At least with hourly wages, you clock in, you clock out. Hey, I'm working. Okay, clock in. When I was salary, I was working way more hours than was on my contract. Why? Because I was in debt. I had to. No different than when you see somebody working in pain, serving at a restaurant in pain, clearly in pain, or way too old that they should be even working there because they're in debt. Oh yeah, man, I'm getting two checks. I'm retired, but I got another couple jobs. Wait a minute, you got another job while in retirement? When you hear people retire from one job and then they get another job, it's like then you're not really retired. No, people live a certain way on their salary all their life. Okay, and then when they retire, they try to live the same life on less money because the retirement money is going to be less than the money that they're making. That's why they get to get another job because they're trying to maintain the same life as when they were working. They always try to say, "Oh man, I'm just trying to get that extra check." No, they're not. You mean you got another job in retirement because you want no? But then a job is also psychological because a lot of debt slaves tie their tied their identity to their jobs. People don't know who they are without the job titles or a job, period. Who am I without a job title? Millions of people don't know that. Hey, yeah, I've been at my job for 30 years at the same job. But then when they tell to the people in the debt matrix, I've been at my job for 30 years. Oh, wow, that's cool. What's so cool about that? It's not. It's not cool. Do you think I would not talk like that inside the debt matrix? Do you understand? I wouldn't say, man, that's crazy to work at the same building for 30 years, but I wouldn't say that because I'm not, because I know which perspective I'm in. Anywhere I go, I know which perspective I'm in. So I know which language to use. When somebody brags about how many years they've been at a job, you know what they're really saying? That's all I have to brag about, me being at a job for that many years. You think they know they're saying that? No, they don't know they're saying that, else they wouldn't say it. Congratulations on you doing that. I'll tell you that. Congratulations. Paying your first year of grad school in cash. Congratulations. You're already ahead of the game. Already. It would feel like peace, like the world would feel like that's I'm showing you guys what it would feel like without actually doing it first. Your life today, but no debt. You own your house, you own if you're say like you're in an apartment, your rent is paid up for a year or two. I know it's hard to believe, but if you walked up to your apartment complex and said, "Hey man, can I get a free month rent if I pay you the whole year?" You know what they're gonna say? Hell yes. Now you're paying less rent than everybody in the complex because you can do something that they can't. Pay a whole year's worth of rent. You're not throwing away money on rent. Don't listen to people like that. People with mortgages say that to people. When somebody tells you, if you're young listening to me, listen to this, okay? If you're in your 20s and no, excuse me, you're almost close to 30, you think you need a house, and you start to hear people say, "Hey, you're throwing away money on rent." You turn to them and say, "Do you have a mortgage?" If they tell you yes, don't listen to them. They're paying rent to the bank. They just don't know it. You know the difference between renters and people with mortgages? Renters know they're renting. People with mortgages don't. That's the only difference. So when you hear a person with a mortgage tell you you're throwing away your money on rent, don't pay attention to them. They're paying rent to the bank. Rent is an expense. Mortgage is debt. Just like Cupcake says, always understand that. So when you hear, again, here's another thing. When you hear a person with a mortgage tell you to stop throwing away money on rent, they don't know the difference between debt and an expense. You can't live anywhere for free, which makes it an expense. Do you understand? Hey, you're welcome, Tracy. Welcome. People seem to flaunt how many jobs they have and how much they're working. That never made sense to me. No, it doesn't make any sense. CENTS. When you hear people talk like that, that is what they've been trained to talk like that. They don't listen. They don't know that they're saying that. This is what I want the SMD family to really understand. When a person brags on how many they've been at the same job for 30, 40 years, or how many jobs, oh, I got 3, 4 jobs, they don't know what they're saying. That means, to me, when I hear that, that means my brain is getting no repair activity at all. If you're working that many hours, that means you're not eating right. You're definitely not getting any sleep. Your brain is getting just thrashed. Your brain is getting no repair time at all. None. Zero. LJ, I've been debt free for 13 years now. Oh, congratulations. Hey, really, congratulations to you. And the excitement has worn, okay, the excitement has worn off. I get what you're saying. And what it did made, what? Oh, this thing is blocking me. Oh, okay, got it. And what it did made me not want to buy anything anymore at 58. Well, I get what you're saying, okay, but this is where you got to change it into time. Okay. And do you have a job? Do you have a job? Or do you own your own business? That makes a difference, I promise you. But you got to remember, you own the time in your life now. Your time here is limited. Necessarily buying things maybe buying something is the wrong way to think. Maybe you need to be doing something else. Remember, your time here is limited. You own it. Remind yourself of the things. Remind yourself of the things you can do. And this is what I do. I remind myself of the things I can do that the majority of people cannot. Uh, I can go to Starbucks at 10 o'clock and sit there for an hour and have a coffee. Uh, I can go to the park and walk at 1:30, 2 o'clock on a nice summery day while the other people are at work. They got to get back from lunch. They got to be back at the office or whatever. I don't. Do the things that the majority can't. Be thankful that you can walk, that you don't have health problems. Be thankful that if you need to lose weight, you can. Nothing's stopping you from doing it. It's not a whole bunch of hours being worked and all this other stuff and overtime hours. You don't have to do none of that. You have the opportunity to do what you want to do with your time. It's beautiful. I love it too. I love it, Dominique. Love it. Help me. What should I do? Because my pension is just accumulating in my account, and I'm not happy about it because when I die, okay, I died debt free, but was not excited. Okay, that's what I'm saying, Tracy, because it's this is important. I want the whole SMD family to understand that there's not many people in this perspective. It's not many people that you can go and ask, hey, what do I do? What do I do? And I get it. What I said earlier, Tracy, start with that. Do the things that debt slaves can't do. Okay, just start out with that because you got to find it. I'm new to this too. I'm only shit. I 15. I became debt free in 15, but I still worked another year, so I still had another job. So, do you still have a job, Tracy? That's what I need to understand. Do you still have a job? One thing I'm looking forward to doing is just volunteering afterwards. That's a good thing right there too. I like that too. That makes me feel full. And listen to what she's listen what I think that's a woman. I'm not sure. Listen to what this other person said. Okay, you have the ability to maybe volunteer somewhere. You don't know what kind of connections you will make in these volunteerings. Find something that you enjoy. I love animals. I'm gonna find somewhere. Maybe I can volunteer at a veterinarian center or something. That'll bring me joy. It will. The veterinarian, they probably will love it. Get some free help, and I don't even have to pay you. Oh yeah, I'm all. They might be all with that. You just never know. I'm sure I could have to be limited on the things I can do, but that'd be pretty awesome. When you're in debt, thinking about volunteering is not an option because you have debt, you have bills to pay. Volunteering is not really in your in your repertoire. I have an associate that's 60 years who's 60 years old. He's over $50,000 in debt, and he drives Uber. He's always ticked off about something because he's tired. He's mad. He's angry. Let me tell you something, Cupcakes. This is what I'm also aware of when I drive on the roads today. When I get caught in traffic, which is rare, but I still get caught in traffic, right? I don't, if somebody cuts me off or honk in or something, I don't get into it with anybody because I now understand how much stress debt slaves are under. Maybe that the next person they argue with is the person that they decide to take with them when today was the day they want to leave Earth. Maybe that's the day the next person they argue with, maybe that's the day they want to leave. The SMD perspective is just it's much bigger than what people believe. I now understand that there are a ton of people under stress. I don't know for what reason, why. It could be debt, it could be relationship problems. Maybe they just caught their partner fooling around. Who knows? It could be a million things. All I know is this: I'm not going to be the person that makes them snap. People don't really understand, like, when you're if say like you're a person right now and you have if you're this person, you have to listen to me because you're doing it. Say like you're fooling around with a married person. You have no idea. First of all, if you're messing around with a married person, the reason why you guys have attracted to each other because you guys have the same energy. You're okay with dating a cheater, and you're dating a person that's also cheating with you. And for some reason, you guys think you have something, but you don't know what's really going on in that relationship. Maybe their spouse, the significant other, is maybe you're the last person that they're going to tolerate that their spouse has cheated on them with. You don't know what number you are. And they decide that they're going to take everybody away from earth because of it. They just can't take it anymore. And you just happen to be that one person that it's going to happen to. Do you understand? If I'm out and about and a woman says she comes on to me and she's married or have a boyfriend, that's it. It's over. We're not talking anymore. No numbers being exchanged, nothing. I'll just look her in her face. I don't do that. Yeah, I don't do stuff like that. Sorry. Because that goes on every day. They make jokes about it. How work husband, work wife. The reason why it's a joke is because it's true. That's why everybody laughs at jokes like that. People don't really take a step back. That's why work wife, work husband. Why? Because it's true. If you're working 60 plus hours at a job, that means you're not at home with your partner. And if you are arguing with your partner and you have debt problems at home, you have nothing with the person at work. You guys, the reason why, and those of you that are involved in it, you have to listen to me. The reason why you two are attracted as work wife and work husband, work boyfriend, work girlfriend, because you guys are at work. You have to be there because you're in debt. That's why you're there. That's why you guys are attracted to each other. That's why the reason why you guys think you have something special because you don't have the same things you have at the house. You guys are both in debt, but you guys are not sharing your debt. It's separate debt, but it's debt. Oh, he's probably real angry. Maybe I need to get in debt again so I can appreciate not. Yeah, right. One good one. Once you get out, there's no going back. Maybe I'm depressed and don't know it, but nothing excites me anymore because I'm so afraid of going into debt again. Well, you're saying, listen to this, Tracy. You're saying it. I don't know if you ever heard this, Tracy, but fears, false evidence appearing real psychologically. Fears, FEARS, false evidence appearing real psychologically. You see what I did there, Tracy? You get out of you get out of debt. Now you're fearing that fear you're feeling about going back into debt. That's a trick. You have, and this is what I've learned just recently, Tracy. Let me tell you something. This is what I learned. You have to stop. If you don't stop the fears, now this is a test for you, Tracy. Honestly, this is what it really is. If you don't stop the fear right now, let's use your example, the fear of going back into debt, you're not going to ever stop having fears. You could start a successful business right now, Tracy. Say like you said, okay, cool, I'm gonna start a business, and it started booming, right? Now you're making $100,000 a month right now, right? Now you know what your next fear is going to be? Fear that you don't lose that successful business. It never stops until you stop it. You're going to have fear of losing the business. What am I going to do if the business stops? Okay. All right. Now the business is doing 2 million. What if I have you have to stop it now. Yeah, I had a relative like that because the married man was paying her bills, then he dumped her for somebody younger, but he still was married. They all when you're that's a perspective of life. Like people that mess around with other people's spouses and wives and they know they're in relationships, and you got to understand that's a perspective that they're in that they don't know that they're in, because people that don't fool around, they don't they don't mess with people that do. They're not really your friends. Like people that are, say like there's a married couple but they do not fuck around with each other, the married couple are not going to have friends that do, because they have nothing in common. And then when they get caught, that's how people get hurt and killed. People, that's crazy. But everybody that's doing it, they think, even though they see it on the news, there's episodes of it, like there's endless episodes on like remakes on YouTube, endless. But you don't think that's going to happen to you. Everybody doesn't think it's going to happen to them. True, being in debt is not fun. You are welcome, Tracy, for sure. Thank you. Listen, Tracy, thank you for asking these types of questions. I really do appreciate these kind of questions because it's important. Because people need to understand, they probably read what Tracy's saying is, how can you fear now that you're debt free? Because you don't know. Because if you're in debt, you don't know why you would feel like that. Because put it this way, when you become debt free, that means you can see. Okay. And now that you can see, the fear of going back into debt is huge because you know what it means to be in debt. Like when I look at like Uber drivers and people that deliver food, do this. If you knew, if you really knew how much money you're really making compared to the hours that you work, I don't know how to explain it. I collect a pension. I do freelance clerical work. Okay, cool. I set my own hours and schedule. I can sleep all day if I want to, and I'm learning how to look at. Congratulations, learning how to roller skate. Congratulations. You see that, Tracy? I want everybody to fight that fear, because if you don't stop it now, it's going to follow you through the rest of your life. Each time you start something, a new business, and it's successful, you're going to get into fear of losing that business. At first, your fear of not being, first think about it like this. Right now, the debt-free people are probably in fear of having a job all their life. Okay, that's a fear. Then when you finally start something, because you'll figure it out. When you start this business, now you're going to have another fear, if you don't stop it, a fear of losing that successful business and having to go back to a job. It's going to never end if you don't stop it. When you find your successful business, whatever that's going to be, don't look back. Don't say you're going to fail. Don't think you're going to fail. You're going to be successful, period. Use me as an example. You guys understand how rare the SMD perspective is. You guys understand that. So therefore, you know how hard it will be. But there is no going back for me. SMD will be all over the world. Do you understand? All over the world. Eventually, that's what I was thinking. I will save a year's worth of rent and paying in advance. Paying in advance. You could listen. You could ask your rent person right now. Just call them and say, "Hey, man, some offer it, some don't." Okay, but if you say, "If I pay the rent a year in advance, can I get a month off?" You probably find a place that will. The place I live at now, they said no. I was pissed. Well, I wasn't pissed, but I was like, "Damn." But they were shocked at the question. They were like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, if I paid it rent for a year," but she was like, I could tell when I asked that question, she was more like, damn, ain't nobody ever asked me that question. I know nobody's ever asked you that question. Hey, you're welcome, of course, cupcakes. Okay, another thing now that I alienated the debt slaves I slept with. Now I don't have hardly anyone to sleep with because the majority of people are in debt. Okay, well, that's another thing. Now this is more on my Sixth Sense channel. Okay, especially I want you guys to men. I want you to understand this. Okay, listen to me. When I was in a relationship with a narcissist for 6 years, when I left her, God, first of all, God had to get me out of that relationship. This is how bad it was. I was traumatized so bad when I left that relationship. I didn't get in a sexual relationship with anybody. Okay. I didn't have the energy for it. I haven't been, listen, I left her in 2023. I've been physically with a woman in 3 years. Do you understand? What did that do for me? I became unaddicted to sex, to lust, unaddicted. This was not by choice, men. I want you guys to understand it. This was not by choice. This was from a traumatic thing that happened to me to make me stop. I didn't I didn't have enough energy for another relationship, let alone sexual activity. What I did not know is I became unaddicted. So I don't think about it like that anymore. I don't think like, oh man, I got to sleep with somebody. That's what it sounds like, Tracy. Not nothing negative. I just want you to see how it sounds when you say it. Who am I going to sleep with now? Like you have to. If you don't have sex, will you die? Listen, I really want you guys to listen to the question. Will you no longer be living if you stop having sex? The answer is no, you will not die. That means you're addicted to it. That means you're addicted. I did not know this until it was forced upon me. Now that I'm not addicted, I give off a different energy. Women can tell. They can tell by the way I talk. They can tell by the way I act. They can tell by the way I interact with them. They can tell. And I'm not, and I want the men to listen to, I'm not acting because it doesn't matter what a woman looks like to me today. If she's in debt, we're not doing any of that. I'm not even talking about that because you guys got to really get it. If I meet a woman and she's in debt, we're not talking on the phone. We're not even, it's not even going to come close to any of that because she's in debt. I'm just not, I just don't do that. We won't have nothing in common. What are we going to talk about? Nothing. I'm 56 years, I'm 56 years old right now. If you don't know at my age, that's a problem. That's a problem. Honestly, if you don't know by this age, you might not want to know because your mind will have to be strong to accept what really is. Because if you're a person right now in your 50s and you still have your student loan debt, you have a mortgage that you've been paying off for 15, 20 years, you've been at the same job for 30 years, you don't have any money saved, you don't know how much money is in your retirement account with your job set up, you might not want to know the SMD perspective because your mind will have to be strong. And I'm not bullshitting you at all. You will have to be strong, especially at this age. I thank God every day that God woke me up in my early 40s. Thank God. Because that's like bare minimum. 45 is bare minimum to wake up. That's like minimum. Bare minimum. You reach about 45 and you still talking about like here, let me give an example. I have an ex-friend. He had to be removed because he was jealous of me. Jealous energy. Jealous energy. But I never could understand, why is he jealous of me? It doesn't matter why a person is jealous of. That's what you got to figure out. If you're a non-jealous person and you know you're around jealous people, get away from them because you don't know what the reason why they're jealous, and who cares? I was on Facebook, maybe, now he's about 3 years younger than me. I'm 56, so that means he's about 53, 52, 53. I saw a picture of him uh, in front of his brand new financed house, bigger one than the one he had before. Him and his wife, family in front of the house, taking a big old picture. I know for a fact it's a mortgage. I already know that. He got a brand new mortgage at age 53. That means he doesn't know. You know what else that means? That means he's probably not going to wake up either. He's not waking up. At 53 with a brand new big house mortgage, you don't want to wake up. The majority of people are not going to wake up. You think he wants to hear me say, hey, man, you really don't own that house? He ain't trying to hear none of that. It's sad to see so many people struggling, and I'm following your instruction, and I realize I don't have hardly any more sleep with, hardly any more to sleep with. Any more to sleep with because everyone is in debt. And that might be, Tracy, and that might be the reason and the thing for you to stop and realize something, because I promise you that if you just stop, and I know when men hear me, how do you just stop? And again, I want every man listening to me. I was forced. This wasn't my choice to stop, to get unaddicted from lust. It was forced upon me, or else I would have never stopped. You understand? The only reason why I'm able to say this to you, because I'm unaddicted from it. It's really simple. Will I die if I don't have sex? No. That means I was addicted. That's what that means. Will I die if I stop drinking water? Yes. Will I die if I stop eating food? Yes. You see the difference? I don't eat food because I'm addicted to food. I eat food because I have to. Will I die if I don't have air? Yes. Will I die if I don't have sex? No. I don't look at women with that hungry look anymore. Not saying I looked at every woman like that, but the woman I'm attracted to. And the reason why I call it a hungry look, because men, you don't, and this is what I understand now that I'm not addicted. Women sees these, they see these looks every single day. My look is not special. If I look them up and down or a certain way, my look is not special. Women have been getting looked at by men for years, since a young age. We just don't know that as men. So now when I'm out and about, if I see an attractive woman, don't get me wrong, I'm not blind, but she doesn't get that hungry look from me. I'll just look and say, oh, she's cute. If she looks back at me, maybe we'll have some communication. But I still don't know anything. I don't even know if she's in debt. Once I find out she's in debt, that's it. That's what it is, a big financed house. Listen, you know how many people do that on Facebook? Take pictures in front of their new house with their paper key. That's all it is. It's worth the paper key. They don't really understand that the paper key that they're holding is the only thing they probably own, the paper key. The ex probably thinks he's doing great in life since he's got the big he I'm sure he does. I see I see uh because I know he didn't pay off his student loan debt. I know his student loan debt is older than his house. It was older than his first house. Now his student loan debt is older than the second house. Pictures of vacations, they're going on trips. If you're a regular person and can't see, you probably think, wow, they're rich. No, they're not. They're in debt. Wow, he's going to all these places. And a person like that would probably even hear me talk. If he came on this video and heard me talk and knew I was talking about him, he probably think, oh man, he's jealous because he can't go to all these countries that I'm going. No, I'm not. I'm not jealous of no vacations. I'm not jealous of your pictures of your houses and the clothes that you're wearing and the cars that you drive. I'm not jealous of any of that because I want people to think about it. I want SMD family when they live and think how many people are living their lives like this. Their whole life, think of it as a tree with a whole bunch of leaves, a big green tree, and on all the leaves on this tree are their debts. Okay. The trunk of the tree is their job. Without their job, everything falls. Everything they do is based on their salary of today, their whole entire life. One day, in their minds, they're thinking they're going to make this salary all the way to retirement age. This is what they're thinking in their brains. If I'm making six figures right now, I'm going to make six figures all the way till I retire. Says who? You? They know, and I know they're thinking like this because I did when I was a debt slave. I used to think like that. I used to go, when I would see if I'm pulling up to a corner in my Lexus and I see somebody standing there with a sign and saying they want some money or some food, I used to think to myself, I'm one job loss away from being that person. I used to say that to myself. Sure did. Little did I know I was telling myself the truth. They all live like that every day. Of course, nobody takes pictures of the hard times, the arguing about debt problems and the arguments. They're not posting that stuff on Facebook. They're posting the happy times, or it looks like it. Hey, look where we're at. We're in Tahiti. We're in Thailand. Whatever. I have no idea how many years they're going to be paying on that trip, and neither do you. When you see somebody posting vacation trips and you know they're in debt, you don't know how many years they're going to be paying on that vacation trip. I promise you that. You don't know. I took my first real vacation last year to Turkey. Oh, wow. Congratulations. Thailand's on my list. I promise you that. Thailand. Turkey, Thailand. So don't feel bad. I'm going. Now, I traveled a lot when I was in debt. So I've been to many countries. But now I'm going to travel debt free. Is very different. Stay longer. Like when I went to Australia, I stayed for about a week and a half. The next time I go to Australia, I'm staying a month. I'm never going that far again. That was like a 14-hour flight, right? And I only stayed about a week and a half. I will never do that again. I go a place that far, I'm staying a month minimum. LJ, I live in the DR where it's plentiful, but I stopped sleeping with them because is that the Dominican Republic? Because most of them don't care about credit scores and debts. Well, it's more about you, right? It's not about where it's at. It's more about you. Everything is a perspective. So wherever I go, it doesn't even matter if it's a place. Sex is everywhere. Okay. That's the most highly addictive drug in the world. It is, period. That's why it's everywhere. You can have a country Think about it this way. You can have a country that has strict drug laws that say you will be put to death if you bring over drugs, but in that country, they have a sex district somewhere. Even if it's illegal, they have it in a particular area because they know they can't stop it. So they have to give in it somewhere, else they're going to have some problem because the majority of people are addicted to it. I don't live in that perspective anymore. So if I went to the DR, I wouldn't see that it's plentiful because I'm not looking for it like that. People that are there looking for that, they have a different look in their face. They don't know that because they live in that perspective. You have a different attitude, different the way you talk to people and women. Everything is different. Like when you go to a place like that, this is what I picture now. This is what I see. Like if I went to the DR, there are people there looking for that. Maybe there are women not looking. Maybe there are women there looking just to be enjoying vacation. So, but now these women have to prepare themselves for each man that tries to talk to them. Prepare themselves because this man is going to try to sleep with them or try to get them in the bed. Well, that's an energy which they will not ever get from me. So I will talk to them like it's normal. And then when the conversation's over, I was like, okay, I'll see you around. Wait a minute. He didn't ask for my number. He didn't ask how long I was staying. No, I don't care. I don't even know how the woman got there. I don't know how she paid for this vacation. I don't know if she's in debt. Did she put the vacation on a credit card and she's going to be paying on it for the next 2, 3? I don't know any of that. It doesn't matter where we're at. Paid for it all in cash. That's the only way to buy anything. Yeah, my sister and I, we stayed for like a week to visit her son. Okay. Wow. See, even when I go to Thailand, I'm staying a month, staying there. Over here in the DR, they believe in enjoying every dime they have while they're living, but I'm too afraid to do that because I'm too far away from home. But they always asking for help, asking you for help. Look, let me exact. You know what? I remember going to the DR. I've been there a couple times. Okay, I remember going there, and I remember I had to, of course, we stop at the airport. They get us, they put us on this bus, and then they drive us to this lavish resort. But as we're driving there, you can see some of the places that the people that live there, all right, and it doesn't look fun. Okay, and of course they drove us through those particular neighborhoods. Maybe that I had to get there to get the whatever get there, but that's hardcore. When I was looking at that, I almost felt bad that I was driving to this nice resort and I was living nothing like them on this resort. You almost feel bad, but who knows? Maybe they're happier than me. I don't know. My mind was playing tricks on me because I thought about saving all this money and dying with dying with it in the bank. So I asked myself, are they doing the right thing? Well, you exactly, are they doing the right thing? Let me see. First of all, I can't compare myself to a place I've never lived. Okay, that's where you got to really think about it. You got to really be think about I have to really think about my programming. I was programmed to be a debt slave when I was born. That's what I was programmed to be. Now that I'm out, uh, I understand it's a program. So I also understand that I was programmed to live in the United States. I don't know what it's like to live in the Dominican Republic. They're they live the way they live. That means they have no debt. So they don't have that problem of stress. Maybe. I don't know. We look at the way they live, we're like, oh, we feel so bad for them. But the people that are feeling bad for them don't own shit. Can you imagine how many debt slaves go to the DR, see how some of the DR people in DR live and feel bad for them, but they're debt slaves, financing the vacation that they're on in the Dominican Republic. They financed it to get there. They put the DR vacation on a credit card. You understand? Listen, people, debt slaves own nothing. Every form of entertainment in Thailand is in the mall, from dinner to movies. On the Thai news, they said over 50% of Thai people are in credit card debt. Thailand is the mall. Well, sounds like capitalism there in Thailand. Every capitalism, I want everybody to understand, SMD family, if it says capitalism, we can thrive there. You understand? It's all the same. It's just a different form. We would have to go over there. If you decided to move to Thailand and create something there, right? You go to Thailand, you find professional accountants and tax people who are debt free, and you tell them, "Hey, we're all debt free. I'm from the United States. I'm debt free. You're debt free. You understand how it works here? Yeah, do it. Do your thing. Here's the money. You know what I want. Save my money on taxes. Make sure all my business stuff is straight. Blah 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 blah." Always remember, the only thing difference between capitalism in different countries is the paper that they use. It doesn't matter if it's US paper, it doesn't matter if it's UK paper, it doesn't matter if it's United States paper. All paper money is an illusion to debt slaves in any country in capitalism. None of this works without the majority of people being in debt and not know they're in debt. Oh yeah, we were in Bangkok. I can't wait to go to Thailand, honestly. I can't. I hear good things about it. I heard it's like a beautiful place. I love my climates I love is warm. I don't care if it's humid. It's just I just like warm climates. That's just me. When I was in a relationship with a narcissist, I lived in South Carolina. Absolutely loved it there. The weather was beautiful damn near every day. I lived in a vacation city. I could go to the beach. It, I was going to the beach in the winter months. It's real living down south next to a beach. The weather was really sporadic. You know, in the winter, sometimes it'd be cold, but then sometimes it would pop up with a 75, 80-degree day out of nowhere. It just would happen, right? It was beautiful. Loved it. That's my thing. Flip flops every day. Loved it. Damn, it's been 2 hours and 30 minutes. I can't believe I've been on this long. All right, we're going to wrap this up, people. Wrap it up. This has been too long. I don't even do these kind of lives. But thank you all for joining, Tracy. Good luck. I hope you take my words. Anybody that wants to start living life like this, my email's in the details of the video. Thank you, Cupcakes, for participating. Loved all the questions, Tracy. Omanika, if you're still here. You catch this video later, leave a comment. Check me out on the Sixth Sense channel. Let me put it up here so I can post a link. I think I put it in the details in the video. I think I did that. There it goes. I'm gonna just copy it. Here's the link. Check out my other channel where I go into deeper stuff and not talk so much about debt slaves, you know. You are very welcome, October. Appreciate it. Appreciate you listening. There's the link to my other channel where I go into more deeper stuff. Let's just put it that way. Because there's so much more. Becoming debt free was just the first thing in my life. It opened up so many more perspectives of the world. The perspective in which I live, I say it's about distance. It's not about levels. The perspective in which I live today is so far from the debt matrix perspective, it's crazy. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys have a wonderful evening. Share this video if you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me, my email's in the details of the video. Good night, Omanike. All right, you guys have a wonderful night. See you later.